Hey guys, tonight we're diving into the peculiar world of medieval court jesters. Picture this. You're cozy in your favorite mismatched pajamas, perhaps with a sleepy dog curled up beside you, like a warm donut-shaped comfort. The rain is tapping softly on your window, a perfect soundtrack for tonight's journey. So, here's the deal. You probably won't survive this without at least a few sleepy giggles. Before you get too comfy, feel free to tap like or subscribe, but only if you're genuinely enjoying the calm around here. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is over there. I love seeing how far this sleepy little journey reaches. Now, go ahead and lower the lights. Maybe let a fan hum in the background, and let's drift gently into tonight's story together. We suddenly find ourselves transported to the echoing halls of a medieval castle, where you've just woken to the peculiar realization that you're not in your bed, but donning the colorful garb of a court jester. It's one of those mornings where your feet are cold under your blankets, and you wish you could just blink yourself back to the comfort of your own room. Your fingers trace the jingle bells sewn into the hems of your attire. They chime a merry tune with every slight movement, like little alarm bells reminding you of your new reality. The jester's life wasn't all jest and merriment, contrary to the light-hearted sound of those bells. Jesters were more than entertainers in the royal court. They were survivors. Imagine if your ability to make a TikTok video funny was a matter of life or death. That was the kind of pressure jesters faced. Each day could bring a new challenge, make the king laugh, or accidentally make him mad. For instance, there's this real historical tidbit. In 1340, King Edward III of England had a jester named Roland the Farter. His big annual performance? A jump, a whistle, and a flatulent finale that honestly might have had a place on a modern viral meme reel. You might chuckle, but can you imagine fart tricks being your job security? Okay, so here's the wild part. Despite what you might expect, jesters weren't always rolling in riches. They had to rely on the generosity of the court, sometimes living as precariously as the Wi-Fi signal in your bedroom. Wealth varied, like the unpredictable plots of so many series you binge-watched without blinking. Some jesters lived comfortably, while others survived on the fringes of fortune. The bizarre twists of their existence make you wonder if today's freelancers with their irregular pays could relate. Historians still argue whether jesters held real power or if they were merely puppets at court. Some suggest they could influence royal decisions subtly with a well-placed joke or clever criticism, a bit like sneaking in a suggestion to a friend who's otherwise not very receptive. Yet, how much sway they had remains a mystery wrapped in the colorful cloak of history. Was their laughter truly their own, or was it just another layer of their elaborate costume? Wrapping your head around the life of jesters, you realize that for every laugh, there might have been an underlying tension. Imagine you're about to perform a joke, but there's always the unwritten fear of stepping out of line and crashing headfirst into disaster, much like texting LOL, when you're not really laughing, but you're trying to maintain peace in a conversation. Such was the delicate balancing act of their universe. With all this in mind, it's hard not to see jesters as early pioneers of comedy, juggling not just clubs or balls, but the expectations and politics of their world. Some of their performances likely felt as daring as scrolling through your phone at 2% battery, hoping it wouldn't cut out mid-laugh. Alas, here we are now, living in a world where jesters have faded into stories, but their echoes still linger in our humor and culture. Now, as you wiggle your cold toes to a warmer spot under the blankets, maybe you can sense how their vibrant legacy still dances around, waking laughter in our hearts even in the dead of night. As you walk further into the bustling halls of the medieval court, the peculiar clinking of the bells on your jester outfit becomes an almost comforting rhythm, like the gentle hum of your laptop fan late at night. It's time to embrace the role of the jester, with its blend of jest and solemnity. Yes, even that flashy, nearly blinding attire plays a part. These outfits weren't just a Pinterest fail of medieval fashion. They served a purpose. The strange motley of colors was a beacon of cheer, or perhaps a warning sign depending on the day. And those bells, believe it or not, were a tool for good humor or at-hand distraction. You might think having bells on your clothes would be like finally setting those 5 alarms and ignoring them all, annoying and relentless. But back then, they announced your presence, allowing some freedom to move in and out of the royal spheres. Fashion quirks aside, it's a reminder of how these jesters had to juggle more than just smiles. They were like living TikToks, short bursts of color and noise capturing attention before brevity whisked them away. Oh, and if you're chuckling at the absurdity of such a wardrobe now, imagine they had to perform in it, too. Jump, dance, and act, all while keeping the whole thing intact. Fashion in the medieval era could be brutal, and the jester's garb is proof of how far one would go for a chuckle. A funny or terrible joke depends on how comfortable you are in a belled, vibrant outfit when performing slapstick comedy. Here's a quirky twist you might enjoy as you cocoon a bit deeper in your blanket. Some historians debate whether these jesters wore real jewelry or if it was just flashy costume game well ahead of its time, a status symbol or simple theater, much like sorting out whether to send that message in dark mode for style or just because it feels emotionally fitting. Who knows? The lines blurred both then and now. Okay, so here's an insider tidbit. Jesters weren't only comedians. Talk about multitasking more than the 27 browser tabs you have open now to feel productive. These jesters were versatile, often musicians or acrobats, sometimes extraordinary mimics. According to historical fact, many jesters could play complex instruments and were entrusted with keeping spirits high during feasts and celebrations. Imagine possessing a talent buffet that's offered like a Netflix menu to keep everyone entertained. But let's be real for a moment. Despite all the flair and expert juggling, jesters walked a tightrope every day. One misstep, and down they went, much like binge-watching cleaning videos at 3 a.m. instead of actually tidying up. You get the thrills in the moment, but oh, the mess it could make. Their world was volatile, where applause one night could shift to frowns or worse by the morning after. Here's one for the books. Once, the jester known as Will Summers managed not only to make Anne Boleyn laugh near the height of her troubles, but also supposedly kept Henry VIII himself from losing his temper. That's like sending out the perfect meme to diffuse an impending argument. As you relax deeper into this story, imagine life beyond those halls where jesters weren't just the comic relief, but had personas layered with depth and humility, like the soft whir of a fan that sounds like an old lullaby. Their legacies are a reminder of the delicate dance between humor and survival, between grace and folly. They were sometimes the only ones entrusted to speak truth cloaked in whimsy, bringing light to places shadowed by stress. As you settle down and let the night tug gently at your eyelids, there's an appreciation for how every silly outfit and flurry of bells has carried us here. The sleepy hum of medieval jest softly echoing down corridors of history may just be the cozy comfort needed tonight. You wander into a vast hall where the laughter echoes off stone walls, bouncing around like the chorus of little LOLs you shoot off without really giggling. From the grand throne, the king's chuckle resonates, and you realize, with a small flip of your heart, that you've succeeded once again. Well, today at least. You see, performing wasn't just a theatrical jaunt. It was a necessity, a way to ensure you stayed in favor with those who could determine your fate with but a nod or a frown. The life of a medieval court jester was a balancing act, blending entertainment with a subtle art of survival. It's like performing your whole curated self on a mystical Insta feed, way before all that social media jazz. One hard part of this whole jester gig was knowing when to switch on the humor and when to slide into somber comfort. Jesters often had to uplift drab moments, like when the sky looms heavy with gray. Imagine needing to scroll through happy dog videos during those oddly quiet nights, just to get recognized for flipping moods with grace. Here's where we dip into a bit of history. In 16th century France, a jester named Triboulet served Kings Louis XV and Francis III. Known for being cunning as much as comical, he once famously towed the line too finely. He jested at one royal's expense. Facing execution, he cleverly quipped whether the king could grant a madness-induced pardon. Amused, the king agreed, saving Triboulet from a gruesome fate. Seems jesters practiced the age-old art of sending a witty text to lighten a sour mood. Only sometimes the stakes were far more serious than your unread notifications. And honestly, here comes the quirky bit. Triboulet's life wasn't just dramatics and fancy court flair. Behind the scenes, much was a play on the fluctuating figures of power and friendship. The court dogs might have been more pampered. The multitasking lifestyle, mingling roles from confidant to temporary peacemaker, is not unlike humming through your playlists while pretending your group chat isn't muted. Historians still argue whether jesters of their caliber truly influence policies or if they were a mere distraction from heavy matters. Did they sway the threads of court decisions like charismatic influencers before fame required a social handle? As the hours wear on, you can feel that gentle pull of sleep creeping in, like a soft candle's whisper. But before you drift too far into slumber, let's consider those jesting rivalries, a mix of camaraderie and caution. Much like comparing your algorithm-curated For You page against a friend's to see who TikTok has humor pegged just right. Having to deal with more than just fellow jesters, you'd sometimes be competing with the king's favorites. Maybe a beloved pet whose crooked tail garnered more goodwill than your best punchline ever could. In the cold stones of the castle, friendships between jesters held secrets, forged by a shared understanding of the court's unpredictable tides. Sometimes, you'd find yourself elbowing a companion with a laugh at antics that the royalty ignored. Other days, you'd stare down the arrival of a rival, the tension thrumming, wondering who'd break the laughter first. Imagine the unwritten stakes in such a game, where at night you'd roll back into your bed, the bundled layers feeling more like armor shed after another round of courtly performance. Here, in this midnight glow, the comfort of night cushions your thoughts, letting these stories sweep you deeper into sleep's embrace. The life of a jester, with its undulating ups and downs, seems a centered place between folly and wisdom. Their legacy is proof that laughter often carried more weight than one might think, echoing the continuing dance of whispers and chuckles throughout history. So much so that their tailored performances still ripple through the ages. As the moon casts its gentle light over the stone floors, you find yourself putting together the pieces of this jester's puzzle. Here's where it gets interesting. The role wasn't just about hijinks and clever repartee. It was a complex dance of surviving the perilous waves of medieval hierarchy. Forget leisurely weekends. Every single jest was like performing without a safety net, bearing the potential for success or an awkward plummet. Jesters had a peculiar sort of wealth, one that wasn't easily converted into coins or lands. Instead, they garnered favor, which functioned somewhat like a modern-day follower count, except instead of likes, missteps might earn you a swift ejection from courtly life. This financial dance required more skill than juggling flaming swords. It wasn't just about performing for financial gain. There were benefits woven into the lifestyle. Every smile or shared joke with a noble could buy you another day's comforts, a soft bed, and perhaps the safety of tomorrow. Here's a fun historical fact. Jesters sometimes received royal gifts that went way beyond what we'd call a bonus today. Some, like Will Summers, who served Henry VIII, even got gifts of land and comfortable retirement opponents, a rare treat in an age where most never dreamed beyond surviving the season. But then again, the wealth wasn't standard, reflecting more about favoritism than fair pay. Imagine if your yearly bonus depended on how often you made your boss laugh during meetings. And speaking of scariness, that isn't at all like Halloween, I've got some real goosebumps-inducing trivia for you. Enter the world of jesters whose jokes backfired horrifically. One miscommunicated or poorly timed joke could set off the very tension you were supposed to alleviate. A little slip-up, a misspoken line, and suddenly you're on thin ice. Or in their case, a thin crust of royal temper. Historians still argue whether the jesters were subjected to unsatisfying fates if they displeased the monarchy. Were they banished with little more than a look of distaste, or did they face darker outcomes, whispered about but rarely documented? It's a mystery that keeps history buffs engaged, sifting through the remnants of tales like patchy sunlight through the drawn curtains of olden days. Yet, amidst the shadows of uncertainty, you can't help but admire these jesters, perpetually skating the line between playful chaos and solemn reflection. In modern parlance, it's like being a full-time social media influencer, needing to read the room, the trends, and even whines of whimsy, all while projecting a uniquely vibrant version of reality. As you pull the blanket tighter around your shoulders in the dim light, there's a new understanding of the jester's world. They were the harbingers of light and humor in a time when reality often cast long shadows. Imagine them on stage, day after day, layering each jest with an edge of authenticity, a rebellion couched in laughter. It brings an appreciation for the subtlety in their craft, a gentle nod to the lasting echo they left against the backdrop of history, a kind of warmth that envelops you like a sleepy whisper, soothing you into a more profound rest as the night deepens. The jesters were, in their way, the unsung poets of courtly life, wrapping truth in jest and laughter in layers of sorrow, forever dancing on the edge of folly and wisdom. As you stretch beneath your blanket, the tale continues unfolding, like the soft flicker of a candle whispering secrets from the past. The court jester, juggling both actual and metaphorical balls, lived a life parallel to the nobles, yet carved a unique niche in history. It's like having your own special playlist in a world dominated by major live radio. So personal, yet shared with an audience far greater than you might ever know. In the clatter of the great halls, you'd find jesters moving seamlessly from role to role. They were confidants, advisors at times, flipping serious counsel into light-hearted whimsy to keep the scales balanced. You see, jesters wielded an unusual influence through their words, a curious blend of charm and wit. Funny thing is, this influence operated in the shadows of royal intrigue, much like sending a well-timed meme to prevent drama in a group chat. There's this real historical gem I can't wait to share. One of the most famous jesters, Nasiruddin, known for his sharp tongue and storytelling prowess, became so favored that his tales transcended his local court, echoing across time and cultures. His stories, much like medieval talk shows whispered in royal ears, carried truths wrapped in humor. Imagine influencing the mood and decisions of a room simply by spinning a compelling yarn. It's an art less wielded in harsh declarations and more in playful narrative that lingers in the tapestry of memory. Markets and fairs saw jesters as stars of sorts too. Their acts celebrated for breaking the monotony of everyday life. Acting outside the courtly sphere granted them a different set of liberties. These venues were the platforms where their crafts truly liberated imaginations, devoid of the usual confines. In a way, they were the original open mic artists, performing for raw applause rather than scripted approval. The IRL equivalent of gauging success, not by views alone, but by the laughter you elicit. Historians still argue whether the jesters faced real liabilities if they crossed an unspoken line during these performances. Did scandalous jokes cost them the favor they'd earned? Or did audiences laugh and let live? The debate continues, a nod to how these jesters' lives remain opaque, glimpses through fogged glass rather than clear reflections. There's something marvelously modern about imagining a jester walking the streets in vibrant attire, bells jingling like notifications vying for attention, a dance of old-world charm fused with contemporary relatability. It's a skip through time, where court jesters were societal lubricants, making the machinery of authority move smoother with humor's light oil. As midnight whispers near and the sleepy calm takes over, it seems jesters, with all their charming complexity, held more sway than recognized at first glance. Their laughter wasn't always theirs, a fact that makes you think much like when you write LOL. A softness, not quite a chuckle, but an understanding of shared levity. It's relaxing to know that even long ago, amidst the fervor of regal trepidations, there was a gentle nudge of camaraderie, draped in folly and wisdom, offering solace and joy to the most anxious of hearts. A jester's life was a dance with danger, a symphony without absolutes, filled with notes of levity even in thunders of serious consequence. Their stories waft through history, a testament to the enduring power of humor in the face of life's burdens. As you let your eyes flutter closed, drifting deeper, think fondly of those ancient jesters who inspired laughter amidst silence and hope amidst darkness. The gentle guides through a tapestry of chaotic history. As you nestle deeper into your cocoon of comfort, a sleepy dog breathing gently in rhythm by your side, the tale of the jester continues, spilling into the corners of your mind like a soothing lullaby. The jester's role, you find, was anchored not only in the vibrancy of the court, but also in the darker hues during times of strife or sorrow. When the hammer of decision weighed heavily above the heads of monarchs, these jesters spun odd solace into their laughter, a glimmering thread amidst patches of royal grief. You wander through a scene where the courts are draped in shadow, mirroring the solemnity of decisions made or battles anticipated. It's then that the jester's haywire attire, so paradoxically bright, becomes a beacon. Even those errant bells serve a dual purpose, much like your smartphones shuffle between alarm and distraction, both necessary and annoying depending on the circumstance. Imagine using humor when the general tone demands solemnity. You might find a parable-worthy jest slipping into the conversation, entrusting the jester with offering hope without stripping away the necessary gravity. Here's a captivating historical footnote for you. In 1537, during a Christmas celebration, a court jester known as Janet the Fool allegedly eased the tension regarding a delicate matter at King James I's court. Amidst political strain, her light antics reminded the court of a gentler aspect of humanity. Now, picture being the only light-hearted entity amid a sea, tasked with reminding others that life did, in fact, hold both laughter and lament, an unsung savior of spirits during relentlessly dark winters. There's something utterly modern about jesters, isn't there? They were akin to the ones in your friend circle, the master of sending group memes that wash away annoyances like unexpected candies on tedious days. This delicate balancing act made them unwitting, albeit essential navigators in the emotional spectrum of those who held power. A stance so much like knowing the perfect words to diffuse an office email battle just before all parties involved hit reply all. Yet historians still argue whether personal grief among monarchs ever touched jesters personally. Were they mere artifacts within a drama they barely understood? Or did empathy stretch farther than acted buffoonery? The debate lingers, tethered to questions that remain like vintage records played softer, tiring to a whisper, but never quite losing its melody. In odd juxtaposition, jesters became figures that could pull laughter from pits of sorrow. They were there, amidst victories, wars, losses, and weddings, crafting moments that were a breath of air against the weight of authority's circumstances. It mirrors the way someone who can bring laughter in times of meaningful reflection becomes, in essence, essential, a friend in disguise bearing both frivolity and companionship. The simmer fades to a soft hum as you spy jesters through the lens of time, entrants of their world with every jest, even if it bordered perilously close to discomfort. It's comfortable to imagine their reality, akin to the fuzzy socks you're wearing now. Comfort, woven from necessity, warmth emanating from compounded narratives, told endlessly wherever they found themselves. Before the night fully unfolds, remember the jesters, those small beams of light who moved softly amidst grandeur and oppression, spinning laughter like silk from thin air. As you let your dreams take over, know their stories remain vibrant, tales channeled through time, whispering eternally of laughter in sorrow's grasp and folly in wisdom's clasp. Voices easing the gradual hush of night descending. The night stretches gently onward, and you find the tail of the jester curling around you as softly as your favorite old blanket. In the quiet of the medieval courts, amidst the whispering drift of history, jesters flit as trusted confidants to rulers, masters of subtlety in a world that relied heavily on such arts. Their laughter wasn't always just laughter. Sometimes it was wisdom cloaked in a jest, delicate like fine threads woven into fabric's hidden seams. Picture this. You're in the middle of the court. Each gesture, each gleaming jingle of your attire strategically averted from causing offense. You're more than a mere entertainer. You're the confidant, sharing whispered truths that might shape the winds of power. It's the ultimate secret meeting behind the masquerade. In that moment, you wield influence. It's reminiscent of knowing the right person to WhatsApp after hours, the one who can solve the unsolvable, just by understanding exactly what you're not saying. Here's an enchanting historical epiphany. A jester known as Stanchik in 16th century Poland was revered not only for his wit, but for his sagacity. He became a symbol of integrity, advising King Sigismund the Fiend with truths swathed in jest when others avoided doing so. History remembers him as the sole voice standing undeterred, courageous enough to mime wisdom. Think of Stanchik not simply as a joker, but as a sage disguised in flamboyant garb. The question historians mull over is whether jesters purposefully wielded this power, or if it was bestowed upon them unknowingly, like a faint star, unaware of its guiding light in night's vastness. Were they political players with their subtle quips, or innocent simply caught in a performance that spun beyond its mold? It invites speculation, each bit of unknown remaining cloaked like night cradled softly into dawn. In your mind's eye, the life of a jester takes on further layers, a glimpse into the infrastructure of lighter mornings, filled with frivolous laughter and muted frustrations. Imagine them as guardians, not just of laughter, but also of a leader's humanity, wielding humor like armor against harsher elements the court often presented. Their words, light and airy, could cut through tensions accruing on heavy days, just as a good joke might diffuse a brewing kitchen storm. And yet, the tricky path of trust wound deeply through these jesters' relationships with rulers. Crossing that delicate line, a jest misunderstood, an insult drawn from a chuckle, might just spiral away like an email sent too quickly into the world, bearing unintended consequences. Legend has it, jesters walked a tightrope, their humor balancing on a knife's edge. Their true genius reflected less in their attire and more in their unseen, quiet undertones of conversation. Their world, a whimsical contraposition to the intractability of governance, showed the deep affinity shared between ruler and jester. In a realm where laughter uplifted and advice laid beneath a veil of giddiness, the jester played the role of an artist who spun their own masterpiece amidst unwritten restraint. It's like holding an entire screenplay in the blink of an eye, drawing you into unwritten elegance woven from well-timed jest. As you find yourself yawning, lulled by the rhythm of this ancient interplay, think of these jesters again, the stewards of emotion and counsel through caustic and courtly tides. Let their stories ease your eyes towards closure, their timeless wisdom lacing your thoughts as you drift toward the waning pools of quiet slumber. The court, once alive with laughter, now reclines peacefully under the gentle embrace of sleep's maternal shawl, carrying with it the memory of jesters onto new dreams. The evening lingers with the kind of silence that feels almost purposeful, like the pause between notes in a lulling melody. As we continue tracing the jester's winding path through the annals of history, we step back into the bustling court, where you can imagine yourself swaying gently through crowded festivities, the heavy scent of wax candles blending with laughter that bubbles into the very air. The jester, adorned in the signature bells and a cascade of motley colors, didn't dance merely for laughter's sake. In a peculiar role as governmental watchdog and comedic entertainer, jesters occasionally overstepped intentionally, offering frank commentary that others wouldn't dare whisper. It's like watching a cooking show while eating instant noodles, confronting you with reality, albeit wrapped in a cozy embrace that softens the eventual blow. A quirky footnote drifts through these tales. Jests often contained critiques, folded slyly into comedic performance, Shakespeare even echoed this, threading jesters through his works as symbols of shrewd honesty clothed in foolishness, allowing audiences a truth in jest that transparency alone sometimes veils. The character of the fool, like Feste from Twelfth Night, offered those veiled layers, dissecting societal norms with humor, a testament to the jester's profound grasp on their art beyond tricks and frivolity. But honestly, here's where the mystery comes alive. Historians still argue whether jesters intentionally wielded profound influence or simply reflected the ebbs and flows of the royal court's ocean without stirring its depths. Were they instigators or mere reflections of deeper truths? Their actions a nuanced dance of caution and liberty? As your eyes begin to softly blink into the drowsy sway of midnight's lull, consider how jesters epitomized more than we might give credit, acting as serene diplomats amidst tangible court tensions. Imagine being the only source of interruption during intense meetings, much like someone who knows exactly when to send that perfectly timed meme to lighten a group chat banter. Now, you're easing into the tale of comedy's risks and rewards. Think about the uncharted waters jesters sailed, where every jest held a duality, potential for delight or dismay. It's not unlike being both the entertainer and the critic at a party, responsible for the night's highs, yet wary of any dips in the tempo. There's an enduring myth that occasionally jesters secured permanent esteem, sculpting space in the gardens of royalty. Here's one for the books. When King Charles VI of France declared himself ruler of the world, his jester only half joked, "Then your majesty shall firstly reside in paradise." A risky move that successfully walked that thin line, understood not through written history, but spoken antics, delighting and chiding the sovereign simultaneously. With the gentle tale of jest entwining your thoughts, you nestle in because watching jesters under night's soft gaze offers comfort and humor, nuanced in simplicity, yet profound in presence. Knowing their laughter and wisdom dances through layers of time ignites them as not just carriers of comedy, but as architects of understated influence. Time rolls ahead gently, and as you let your eyelids close or your breathing find that sweet rhythm, there's a warmth in knowing that even centuries ago, the jest, the joke, the cleverly concealed commentary stayed afloat, slipping through history like a tale well-loved, and whispers softly through your dreams until dawn's light gently lifts the night's embrace. The night deepens as you snuggle deeper beneath your blanket, the familiar sounds of your home blending seamlessly with the echoes of medieval court life. With every breath, you drift further into the whimsical yet poignant existence of jesters, whose humor bore the weight of consolation and introspection. In the elegant dance of court life, jesters had to navigate the ever-present chances of overstepping boundaries. They walked a fine line, both figuratively and literally, employing satire and commentary as their tools. It's a bit like browsing through life hacks that make you wonder, is this genius or just a well-dressed folly? Jesters held that same mix, their acts embodying both the clever and the nonsensical. Here's a delightful, yet slightly sobering detail from history. In the 12th century, a jester known as Archibald was said to have juggled knives while recounting tales of flawed kingships. His performances, albeit risky, were attempts to use humor for reflection. Fast forward to modern times, and you see echoes of this approach in stand-up comedians and satirical shows, except, of course, with slightly fewer sharp objects flying about. Amidst this light-hearted examination, Historians still argue whether the court actually feared jesters as catalysts for change. Did their satire prick the conscience of the nobility, spurring thoughtfulness? Or were they seen merely as simple distractions tossed amidst grandeur like breadcrumbs to sparrows? Imagine court jesters akin to today's influencers, wielding an unprecedented power in shaping perceptions while wrapped up in laughter and fanfare. There were times when jesters' words seemed to hang in the air a touch longer, wherever wisdom lay hidden within jests offered seemingly without consequence. Kind of like when you send out a message that you're sure is casual, only to realize it carried a bigger weight than you planned. There's a story to ponder: the fate of jesters who swayed opinions unexpectedly. Some were raised to new heights within the court, while others found themselves quietly ushered out. It's a reminder of how influence teeters on a precipice, much like choosing to send the emoji that might tip a conversation either into laughter or unintended awkwardness. As you quiet your mind, let the gentle, timeless rhythm of roles and narratives cradle you into a restful state. Let this nighttime journey through humor and history remind you just how enduring the power of a jest can be. One calming reminder of the balance between folly and wisdom. The court gradually dims from your thoughts, like fairy lights being gently switched off one by one, leaving you in a soothing stillness. The day's echoes retreat, and the wrapped tapestry of jesters' legacies settles like a soft weave of memory over your thoughts, ushering you tenderly towards sleep's welcoming embrace. The night wears on, weaving together dreams of color and sound as we continue our gentle stroll through the whimsical, often precarious life of the medieval court jester. Picture a room cloaked in the dim glow of flickering candlelight, casting playful shadows that seem to dance along with your thoughts. You're standing in a bustling hall where jesters once filled the air with laughter as vibrant as the tapestry of their experiences. Jesters, walking paradoxes, played in the heart of seriousness, often lightening the somber moods that hung over courts like heavy curtains. It's like settling into a good cleaning show while ignoring the mountain of laundry, providing a sense of peace despite the turmoil. They were the original multitaskers, seamless in their ability to shift tone and pace, turning grimness into a soft-edged solace, laced with gentle jokes. Historical notes whisper of jesters like Jane Fool, serving Mary Wine of England. Mary, known as Bloody Mary, found in Jane a comforting presence amidst harsh political landscapes. Jane's clever antics were said to soothe, a human counterpoint to the turmoil swirling around. It's a touching reminder of a simple truth. Behind every official title, laughter yet holds the power to humanize even the fortresses of authority. Debates continue among historians about whether jesters, specifically ones like Jane, were consulted on matters outside merriment, or if their grasp on personal affairs was mainly through human connection rather than direct counsel. Did they indeed shape policy, or simply forge a quiet personal peace within the chaotic cadence of court life? You might find it charming that jesters held this human touch, like selecting the perfect meme at precisely the right moment. It's this ability to perceive the unsaid yet understood through the universal language of humor that served them perhaps even more than their vibrant ensembles or finely tuned quips could. Take a beat to consider how these performers moved through history, their triumphs encased in the modesty of a well-timed jest, showing just how much influence a gleeful heart could wield. They were the Netflix binge of their time, offering both escape and insight. Each performance a new episode shrouded in mystery and delight. In their legacies, jesters didn't just leave a trail of laughter. They left a vibrant illustration of life's interplay between happiness and hardship, a dance as old as time itself. And as you lie back, feeling the comforting weight of these tales settle like a whispered lullaby, there's a magic in knowing laughter has always been a powerful force, uniting eras and hearts through humor's gentle embrace. As the world outside softens and quiets, so too does the story, lulling you into a serene state, your mind hanging softly between waking and dream. Allow the jester's tales to wrap you gently, to lead you toward the warm cradle of sleep, where laughter dances and rests, a timeless guide through the corridors of night. As you nestle deeper, the world of jesters unfolds one last time, spreading out like a grand tapestry, each story a thread woven with humor and wisdom. Picture a serene courtyard bathed in moonlight, where once the jingle of bells accompanied soft whispers of the jesterhood. It is here, in this gentle glow, that we explore the final dance of jesters as the Renaissance ushers in new forms of entertainment. The Renaissance, with its flourishing art and intellect, saw jesters' roles evolve like an intricate mosaic of culture. As theaters rose and playwrights penned dramatic masterpieces, jesters found themselves in an ever-shifting landscape, caught between the nostalgia of their courtly roots and the burgeoning stage that promised new expressions of whimsy. It's like that feeling when you update your apps, hoping they won't betray your cherished old interfaces, yet excitedly curious about new features. Consider this. Comedians and performers of this era often leaned into themes that jesters had long navigated. The Italian commedia dell'arte brought characters reminiscent of the jester to life, their antics a nod to the absurdities jesters once artfully delivered amidst the stoic confines of royalty. It's akin to watching a meme evolve across platforms, each iteration holding a kernel of the original jest, adapted for changing audiences. In this vibrant flux, the whispered wonder follows. Did the jesters influence Renaissance thinkers with their layered narratives, offering slices of truth wrapped in foolishness? Historians still debate whether these witticisms swayed minds, or if jesters simply dissolved, a painted harlequin slipping into the folds of history unnoticed. Here's a curious side note. As famous playwrights, such as Shakespeare, immortalized the fool in their works, they captured the essence of jesters, wise and comical, revealing a conscience that proffered new spectrums of light. From the melancholic musings of the King's Fool in King Lear to the mischievous rogues of As You Like It. Think of the pleasure those early audiences must have felt, their laughter ringing out, a pleasant balm binding social strata with shared amusement. The jesters' spirits, though fading from courts, found life in every theater, their echoes shaping performances that endure through today's collective imagination. As the scene fades and melds into your drowsy reflections, the jester's journey whispers one final thought. These artisans, amid a world sharpened by reason and philosophy, nurtured an understanding that the heart's pulse quickest recognizes humor. In laughing, they linked souls and times, a reminder that amid the profound, simple jest saves us from taking ourselves too seriously at times. Let the jester's legacy cradle you now, as sleep's delicate fingers ease the day's demands. Imagine the jesters as timeless companions, their tales softly unfurling beside you, carrying you into dreams' tender embrace, where laughter, like moonbeams, continues to dance through the night, a gentle cadence marking time and rhythms soft and serene. As the night deepens, you settle more comfortably into your cocoon of warmth, surrounded by the comforting murmur of history. We find ourselves hovering over a tableau of jesters, slowly receding into history, their roles shifting and evolving with the turning tide of time. With each breath, you can imagine the echoes of their laughter intermingling with the quiet of the night, like a soft gale through the leaves. The dawn of a new era in entertainment signifies the gradual fade of the jester, a figure of whimsy and wisdom who had once captivated the courts. As plays and performances thrived and a more refined humor emerged, jesters began to vanish from the regal spotlight, leaving behind a legacy that would ripple into the future. Just as you're lulled by cozy familiarity, these jesters were, in a way, bidding farewell to their stage, descending quietly into a new world order of art and insight. With this slow transience comes the realization that the jester's life, though woven with laughter, was also one of poignant transitions. Much like dusk gently turns to night without fanfare, so too was their departure, a slow easing from the shelter of royal halls. Historians still wonder at the exact moments when jesters finally bowed out. Was their laughter allowed to simply trickle away into silence, or was their jest consumed and transformed, becoming part of this new world? Yet, even as individual jesters faded from historical records, their spirits, captured in stories and plays, endure. A reminder that true humor never fully disappears. It's akin to discovering an old childhood game hidden in memory, joyful and familiar, yet transformed by the passage of time. Their essence matured in our enduring love for the stories they helped spark. From Moliere's biting wit to today's stand-ups who traverse the tightrope of social commentary. Imagine the jester's final tales unwinding like a treasured scarf we've had for years, threads softly unraveling only to be rewoven into something new, a pattern never forgotten. It's a quiet farewell, like watching cooking shows while eating instant noodles. Not quite what one expects, yet comforting all the same. A touch of flavor from a more innocent time mingled with modern necessity. As you drift further into the embrace of sleep, let the warmth of these tales remind you that every laugh and every jest carries an echo of those who brought them to life. Picture the jesters with muted bells and vibrant colors, marking time within stories left gently in the archives of our past, whispering through the annals to remind us of a simple truth, that laughter, truly sincere, is as timeless as a star's twinkle on a cloudless night. With this, let the hushed lullabies of history pull you into the quiet places where dreams linger, where jesters still softly tread, sharing secrets in giggles and grins as the world slumbers on. As morning edges toward waking, the tale simply rests, and the jester's legacy gently subsides into your dreams, wrapping you in their eternal knack for finding light in even the darkest corners. As the minutes and hours of the night stretch further, your thoughts meander through the final passage of the jester's tale, intertwining with the warmth that envelopes you. The journey has been one of laughter and wisdom, where stories woven from jests have become threads in the rich tapestry of history. With each gentle exhale, you feel a connection to the myriad souls who laughed before you, united by the timeless power of humor. As the Renaissance continued to unfold, the role of the jester, once vibrant and loud, began to quietly dissolve. New forms of expression took center stage, inviting more structured performances, plays that dazzled and entertained, theaters that enveloped both nobility and common folk in a shared experience. The court jester, as a singular entity, made a gracious exit, leaving behind a legacy captured in the laughter now found between carefully penned lines and staged performances. Yet, as history has often shown, the spirit of the jester found new life within the evolving world. Renaissance comedians shaped new possibilities using the foundations that jesters had so cunningly laid. Performing troupes carried forward the jester's flair, transforming court's intimate amusement into grand spectacles, the echo of laughter now amplified within arenas. It's like transitioning from solitary enjoyment of a classic book to a worldwide blockbuster. Each holds its charm, yet the evolution enriches the experience ever more. But here's the thing that will really make you smile softly as you curl deeper into your haven. Historians still debate whether the full essence of jesters truly disappeared or simply immersed into the broader collective consciousness of comedic arts. Did gestures, quips, and antics live on through this natural progression? Or were they quietly tucked away, like well-loved tales whispered on sleepy afternoons? Picture, if you will, Shakespeare crafting his beloved fools, those touchstones of humor and insight that have graced countless stages. In them, we see the continuation of the jester's legacy, a celebration of the bright and the arcane, playing out under the same sun that witnessed their antics centuries ago. Their echoes whispered through history with a subtle nod, gently reminding us that humor, at its heart, is universal. As you close your eyes, letting the quiet melodies of the night guide you calmly towards rest, there's comfort in knowing that jesters, in all their colorful glory, didn't just vanish. They transformed, merging with the very soul of storytelling. Their laughter seeps through every page turned and every stage lit, an unbroken line of amusement and reflection stretching into infinity. So, as you drift softly into slumber's embrace, let the jester's journey remind you of the quiet strength bound within every chuckle and smile. On this serene night, enveloped in hushed gratitude, the jester's heart beats on in dreams, dancing through realms of imagination, ever present, ever wise, and always ready to sprinkle the world with a touch of magic and mirth. As the gentle arms of sleep cradle you further, the final notes of the jester's melody play softly on the edges of your consciousness. The night is a tender embrace, wrapping around you with the warmth of knowing that laughter, ever present, continues to echo through time. In this quiet moment, the jester's tale finds a peaceful resting place within the corridors of history and in the beats of your own heart. Imagine yourself wandering through a garden of memories, where the flowers are the stories and laughter of jesters past. Each petal shimmers with the joy and wisdom that jesters gifted to the world. It's a sanctuary of nostalgia, a reminder that humor thrives even in the simplest of moments. You can feel the gentle brush of a breeze that carries the laughter of centuries, a playful whisper among the leaves that caress your senses as you breathe deeply in contentment. In this dreamy landscape, you find the essence of the jesters captured in expressions and performers across time, who brought smiles to faces with their art. From the stages of Renaissance theaters to the silver screens and television sets of today, the jester's enduring spirit lives on, a testament to the enduring power of laughter and its uncanny ability to unite and heal. Here's a warm thought to carry into your dreams. While scholars may continue to debate the Jester's definitive influence on history, what remains certain is their impact on hearts and minds, transcending the confines of mere entertainment. Their roles, though altered with time, opened a window into exploring humanity's nuances with humor as the guide, much like a heartfelt joke shared among friends during a moment of vulnerability. And now, as the story finds its gentle close, you'll sense the calming presence of jesters resting within you. They remind you that humor has a poignant rhythm, quietly weaving its way through life's complex tapestry. Sometimes a quiet giggle, other times a robust laugh echoing in joyous communion. This understanding lingers, comforting you like a well-loved story, a beacon of light in the wide tapestry of life. As you let these thoughts ease you finally into a restful sleep, allow yourself to be carried by the Jester's enduring legacy. They're part of your dreams, guides through the nighttime's gentle passage, where laughter mingles seamlessly with dreams, and contentment resides in knowing that joy, like your favorite bedtime tale, remains a cherished companion long after the last page is turned. And with a deep, serene breath, you drift, a journey into the soothing arms of slumber, where the world remains softly tucked beneath the blanket of night, allowing hums of ancient jests to guide your dreams as they have done for centuries beneath the vast and starry sky. The night stretches on with a tranquil serenity, embracing the essence of jesters and their timeless charm. In this dreamy weave, where reality softly blurs into the comfort of myths and stories, the journey of the jester finds its gentle abode. You are cocooned in the knowledge that even as centuries pass and evolve, the light-hearted essence of humor never truly fades. The jester's spirit has left its indelible mark on changes throughout each era, from nighttime fireside tales to bustling theater performances, becoming part of the very fabric that holds society's quirks and complexities together. Just as you sink into a favorite oversized chair, the stories of jesters envelop you in their warmth, providing a cushion of laughter and reflection that we all sometimes need. Imagine floating through the pages of time, where each era unfurls before you with playful elegance. The jester's laughter, a beacon illuminating the night, reaches beyond, offering an eternal wink to those who dare seek joy amidst life's intricacies. This world, brightened by jester's antics and gentle wisdom, becomes both a mirror and a muse, reflecting both our follies and our hopes with a grace uniquely their own. Historians may continue to riff over the finer details of the jester's actual historic roles, pondering their subtle influence on events that shaped nations. Did their quips subtly steer decisions, or were they watchful observers to history's unfolding drama? The mystery adds to the allure of jesters, their lives bathed in hues of enigma and enchantment, leaving questions that tease the curious spirit like a distant star shimmering in the night sky. In this place of reflection, carry forward an understanding that jesters, facilitators of humor's rare gift, found their most vital role in reminding humanity of laughter's ability to heal. So too, are you reminded that even under the weight of daily life, the spark of a jest or a shared laugh can be a remedy as potent as time itself? Let thoughts of jesters, their bright moments of joy, and the quiet shadows of their wisdom compose a lullaby that cradles you as you slumber. This lullaby, a whispered promise like a gentle breeze, speaks of the jester's eternal journey from one generation to the next, ensuring their laughter becomes a cherished echo in the world's vast, story-filled corridors. Embrace this serenade of the ages as dreams carry you gently into night's majestic embrace. As stars sprinkle across a velvety sky, the jester's enduring laughter entwines with your dreams, weaving tales both old and new, gently whispering of the joy and delight that shall greet the dawn, reminding you that laughter, in its purest form, will always light the way, guiding hearts home through the softest lull of night.